Yes, I was in a boy band. And we'll talk about how I got there. But first of all, I want to thank all of you guys for being here on a Friday afternoon. It is clear that this is an inspired group, people who are eager to exchange new ideas, meet new people, think about all the great things that we can all do together as a community. And my goal is to get into the chemistry of that a little bit and think about why is it that you're all here, and how do we all work together? How do we all talk together and interact and make amazing things happen? So I call it the chemistry of inspiration, something I made up, and we'll see if it sticks. But there are three themes that I want us to kind of follow on throughout the course of my talk. One is ideas, and how ideas kind of drive us forward. The second is collisions, and how collisions between things make things happen between them. And the third is technology, and how technology is changing kind of the landscape of how we do everything today. So let's keep a lookout for those three things throughout our journey. But before any journey, we have to ask the question, where are we going? What's our destination? What's the end goal? And it's easy when you're doing something like planning a trip. You take a street address, you punch it into Google Maps, and it tells you where to go. Right? It's a little more difficult when life looks something like this, and you have choices, you have opportunities. It's confusing. There are on-ramps and off-ramps and intersections and this person and that person, and it can get a little frustrating. There's no life GPS, right, that says, hey, tell me where to go, and it says, 300 feet after graduation, turn left at your first job. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Maybe that's something I'll talk to Google about working on. But for now, it's really on us. And I think there are some things that we can use as guideposts to make that path on life a little simpler and make it look a little more like this. Clear sailing, right? That would be nice, right? If you knew where to go. I think it all starts with an idea. Something that you're passionate about, something that inspires you, something that drives you forward. All of a sudden, all of those winding paths and crazy roads start to narrow down and become a little more focused. Maybe a little idealistic, I know, but it feels that way when you're inspired and when you're excited about doing something. And this is what makes us move forward. We can kind of see ourselves progressing forward towards that goal, and it becomes a lot easier. So, what did this look like for me? They say that's me. I'm not sure how it happened, but I am the child of two immigrant parents who came here from India searching for a better life. How do you define a better life? You know, money, comfort, liberties. There are a lot of things that they were looking for when they came here. And in raising me, they taught me that there was a word that translated into a better life. There's an English word that translates into a better life in most Indian and even most ethnic or minority households. It was doctor. And I believed it. I bought into it. I said, okay, Mom and Dad, you guys are Superman and Superwoman. You struggled hard to get here, and I respect you for that. And if you think that being a doctor is the right way to go, then hell, all right, let's do it. The mind of an 18-year-old, right, or 17 or whatever. So I decided, let's do it. I came here to the University of Michigan, and I decided I was going to be pre-med. But I wasn't just going to be any pre-med. No offense to the psych majors and the bio majors and all of you that are pursuing that course. I respect you a lot. But I wanted to be better. I wanted to stand out. Just a little jab. But I'm competitive. I wanted to be better. I wanted to get into med school, and I thought, well, what do I need to do to get there? I I needed to set myself above and beyond kind of where the bar was. And so I decided I'm going to go into chemical engineering. Little did I hear a chemi? What? Little did I know that chemi was considered the hardest major at the university. May still be, but it definitely kicked my butt. But I learned a lot, and I really enjoyed my experience as a chemi major. I looked at a lot of stuff like this, and it really fascinated me, actually. I mean, thinking about what makes things go, this fundamental idea of chemical reactions and particles coming together and energy being consumed and bonds being broken and formed, and this whole thing just, it really made my mind tick. And it started to give me kind of an understanding of how do things work. And it started to really make me think about how does my mind work and what am I really interested in. So I started to think about these things, and there were a few things about chemical reactions that I started to see playing out in my own life. First of all, the raw materials. Like, what do you put into that chemical reaction? That spells what comes out of the chemical reaction. So for me, I was convinced I've got some damn good raw materials. I know that I can make something great out of myself. There's an extra enthusiastic laugh back there. Thank you. But in addition to those raw materials, I needed some kind of catalyst in my life to bring that activation energy down. You know, I would go home sometimes to visit my parents, and my mom and dad would say, hey, son, can you take out the trash? And I'd say, the activation energy for that is just too high. It's not going to happen. But there were things that I was very passionate about that made it easy for me to want to do those things. I was inspired to do them, and so I needed to find those things that would help catalyze those reactions in my life to make me go forward, that would inspire me. And it was all about the particles in that reaction colliding and having a better opportunity to exchange ideas, exchange the motivation to make things happen. And sure enough, here at the University of Michigan, there are plenty of opportunities to collide with people. On game day especially, right? You get trampled. But the real collisions that meant the most to me were here, in opportunities to engage with people at meetups and networking sessions. And that's where I really found myself absorbing these ideas from all of these people that I was colliding with and getting inspired beyond maybe what mom and dad told me at home, and learning new things, learning about new opportunities and things that I was passionate about that I didn't even know kind of existed within me. So I started rethinking about what this plot looks like, and I put myself as one of those reactants, and I started to realize that I was interacting with people around me and learning from the ideas that they were talking to me about. And I was getting inspired and wanting to work on those ideas with those people. And it made me happy. I did my best kindergarten star above my head there. But it really gave me a feeling of achievement that I was taking ideas from people, working together with them, and able to do some really cool things. And really, life actually looks much more like this. You remember the roadmap that I showed you earlier, where there are a lot of different paths that you can take, and sometimes you need some of your friends to drop in and share a few different ideas with you that you work on throughout the course of your life. And that's really been my story, is that I went from having that one end destination of the kid who wanted to be the doctor to being, well, an android guy with a lot of different ideas. And I started to realize that there was all of this creativity going on, and I needed channels to let them out. So one of those channels of letting them out, we'll fast forward, you guys have already seen this. This is just me plotting my course through all of my different ideas. But it brought me to boy band days. So right here at the University of Michigan, kind of during my off time from classes and lab work and all of that, I actually connected with 4 of my childhood buddies to start this band. None of us knew what we were doing. We just knew that we loved to sing and we loved to get up on stage and perform in front of people. So we went after it. And lo and behold, we started getting invitations to perform at concerts, first here in Ann Arbor, and then we got a call from Austin, Texas, and then another one came from Edmond, Oklahoma, and one thing after another. Next thing you know, a guy with an English accent comes up to us after the concert and he says, "I've heard a lot about you. I actually run a record label out of London, and I'm interested in signing you to it." 22 years old, our eyes all lit up, and we're like, hell yeah. So we jumped on board, and we went for an amazing ride. The band 786 toured for about 7 years. We released a couple of albums, and it was just an amazing, amazing journey for me. Woo! I was challenged to incorporate some kind of song into this. I don't know how, but you guys can YouTube it, and you'll find something. I've written a lot of stuff on my own since the band last toured in 2009, but for me, this was an opportunity to make change. People love music. We love to consume content, and if you can deliver really positive messages through media like this, it can actually change the way people feel about life. And I would get stories all the time about how they listened to some of the songs that we sang, and it changed the way they felt about themselves. It made them feel positive. It made them feel optimistic again. And there's no more rewarding experience than that. So just an example of how an idea that we knew nothing about, we were inspired, we had the right ideas, the right collisions happened between the right people, and we got to do something pretty amazing. And I met a lot of people through that experience, lots of crowds from around the globe as I traveled, and again, more collisions, more exchanges of ideas, and I just continued to get inspired by all of those people that I was talking to and hearing about someone who had this great technology idea for how to make education better for kids. That guy then went on to do some amazing things, and out of that came the Khan Academy. And there are some really, really cool things happening as people exchange all of these ideas. And the amazing thing is, technology is here to facilitate this for us. We now walk around with these supercomputers in the palm of our hands that give us access to all of the information we need to answer whatever questions we need, to Skype or FaceTime or Google Plus Hangout, I highly recommend, to connect with these people from around the world. And it just gives us more and more access to all of these great people with all of these great ideas. You know, they said in 1960, when Hanna-Barbera first put out the Jetsons, this was their view of the future 100 years from then. So in 2060, they said we'd be in flying cars and have Rosie the robot cleaning our floors and making our breakfast. I don't think we're close to the flying cars piece of it, but there are some pretty amazing things happening where robots are now cleaning our homes, and we can control our thermostat from our smartphone. And these are all products of people working together with great ideas to help guide their lives. And I think you guys should definitely be thinking about what challenges or problems that you're seeing that inspire you. Who can you work with to solve those problems? And what kind of technologies can you be leveraging to find those solutions? At Google, where I work today, we're really trying to break the barriers of getting information in front of people and helping people to communicate. If you're not familiar with Project Glass, I highly recommend you check it out. But it's just an example of people with what we at Google call moonshot ideas. They're the ideas that we think are going to change the world. And we've got teams that take these moonshot ideas and figure out how to make them reality. All of you should have moonshots on how you can change the world, and I'm sure that there are people in this room that you can all talk to together to share those moonshots with and really make them happen. Because I know that if someone like me can have an idea, have good people to collide with, and have some technology to help make it all happen, I believe all of you can do that too. And I would highly encourage you to find what your ideas are, make those collisions happen, drive those reactions forward for you, and use technology to make it all easier for you. Thank you very much. Be inspired.